What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the Rich and Turbo Heavy Half Hour. My name's Rich. Find me on X at FuzzDoomRip and on all the socials at rich.paiva as a reviewer at Musepedia of Metal and as a Doom Charts contributor. And my partner in crime from his dark void as usual, Turbo. What's going on?
Just another day.
All right.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here, and I'm also happy that we have Justin and Ben from SkullDozer on the line with us. How you guys doing?
Good, doing great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Excellent. Turbo actually sent, I believe Turbo sent me this record on our little chat group, and immediately had to reach out to you guys, and it's kind of how it happens on our show. We find a record that we like, reach out, and almost every time in this scene, you guys are happy to come talk to us about the record. You guys have a new record called High Tide, came out on July 4th, correct?
That's correct.
All right. I have some questions about this record compared to your last ones, but what, Justin, starting with you, what would you say about High Tide, and what's maybe a little different than this record than some of your other material, other than the fact that you have a bass player now? Which seems to be a big change.
It's kind of big.
Yeah, well, obviously that's the big one. It's the obvious one. We enlisted a bass player, Dylan, who plays on the record. All previous recorded material and live stuff we did without a bass player. So it was just kind of a conscious decision that it's during pandemic time to where, we kind of exhausted, I think, everything that I exhausted everything that I could do as a single guitar player trying to fill the sound out live and on recordings. And it just made sense to enlist a bass player and kind of just really beef up the sound and really just step it up a notch as a band. That's the obvious one. I think the other part, we've been playing together for quite some time, and we've really kind of honed our craft quite a bit as in comparison to some of the earlier material that we were releasing, and kind of really, I think we kind of hit our stride on this one. So I don't know, Ben, anything on your end?
Yeah, I'd definitely say it just feels a little more fully formed, I think. The addition of Dylan has really freed up Justin to do a lot more on the with solos, and I mean it was hard to even do solos before, just because as soon as he stopped, that would all fall away, and it was if you don't have anything else carrying the melody and whatnot. So I'd say that those are the main things. I think we definitely know who we are as a band. That's pretty solidified at this point. So
love that.
Definitely took a little bit more time with these songs and kind of really just locking them down. So yeah,
you almost like just looking at your other records and some of the material around you. You almost kind of wore no bass player as like a badge of honor, it seemed. And minimalist is still like one of those, one of your tags on Bandcamp. And before you kind of talked a lot about it. Was that kind of part of it? Like just the three of you guys doing your thing, and I wouldn't call you guys minimalist anymore because, like you said, your sound has kind of grown and gotten bigger. But do you still kind of hang your hat on that minimalist tag outside of like the DIY aspect of what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely kind of spawned from the early SkullDozer days of like not having a bass player, doing the most we could with the least possible. And now it's kind of, at least for me, I still like to use that tag just because it reminds me of our roots, where we came from. We're definitely, I guess we wouldn't be labeled as a minimalist band anymore. We've definitely branched out, but I leave it there, just kind of in memoriam of the early days.
We never do too much, though. We never do too much. So, I mean, I think it still sort of fits in some ways. So, it is a nice reminder of the foundation. So.
Love it. Turbo, what was it that you kind of, you sent this to me. What did you hear about this record? Not that I'm interviewing you, but just to prompt you a little bit on what you heard that got you excited when you sent this to me. What was your first impression?
Well, first of all, the entire sound, just everything about it clicked for me. But as far as like the vocals, Ben, it took me a while because I kept thinking this reminds me of somebody, and I was like, is this the dude from Solus? I thought maybe one of the old Solus singers was singing in this band. So you were never in Solus, right?
No.
But he is, or was, or is in, and I did not know this until I did a little bit of research, in Manthus, correct?
Yes,
which is
right.
Definitely more of the thrash kind of new wave of traditional British heavy metal.
A little more of a trad metal project for sure.
Which I think is kind of what makes your vocals and Justin's riffs kind of unique. And you have what I hear more of like a thrashy kind of vocalist with now kind of your stoner kind of riffs. And I think that is something that comes together that's unique that you don't necessarily hear. We'll talk about how different it is compared to Justin's other band in a minute. But vocally, like, I know, do you guys come from different scenes, or all you bands you seem to kind of share a lot of and cross over in some of that stuff too?
I've been making music with Justin for a long time. We actually had the previous incarnation of SkullDozer was actually more of like just kind of a straightforward like hard rock band. We were called Vice Riot, and we at some point, we decided we were going to move on, do something else. Our bass player from Vice Riot actually went and started playing with another band, so we just kind of picked up and moved on, which is part of the reason for us not having a bass player in SkullDozer in the beginning. But pretty early on, I figured out that like vocally, I was going to have to really kind of like soar above what we were going to do, what Justin was doing sonically, just because we just SkullDozer. You got a Bandcamp called SkullDozer. You got to bring the whole horsepower. So I kind of try to. It seems like a lot of my vocals it fits in best when I'm can kind of float over the top of that. So it just kind of naturally ended up that way. I don't know. It's kind of like when they, when they talk about how in Black Sabbath they kept trying to get him to Ozzy to sing like lower, and so they write the riffs lower, and so he just kept singing higher and higher. Kind of the same effect a little bit.
Yeah, that's a perfect example there that I like to bring out when people talk to me about SkullDozer and Ben's vocals. And I definitely the guitars are tuned low. Lower than, not as low as everybody, but it's pretty low. And then we tune it like an A sharp tuning, and then Ben's vocals just kind of compensate going the other direction, and just using the Black Sabbath Ozzy Tony Iommi reference is just a perfect example of how that works.
Right.
Love it. Yeah, and Justin, you're just 2025 Riff Machine. Putting out two just killer records with a lot of your guitar work on that. Obviously, Ravine, I don't want to say a much different band because it's you. The vocals are different, and it's definitely, I get more of kind of the heavy sludge kind of thing going on there. What's the difference there? Like, tell me the difference of being in SkullDozer versus being in Ravine, and interestingly, how you wound up doing two records in the same year.
Let's start with the records. How they kind of lined up coming out within a month of each other is kind of just happenstance. It wasn't anything that was planned. The SkullDozer record, High Tide, has been in the works since 2019, and we actually had the record finalized at the beginning of this year and of 2025. Then you have all the logistical stuff of the artwork and all the other things, and then it just happened to land. We just really wanted to get it out. So July seemed like a perfect time. As far as the Ravine album, that had been completed for almost a year and a half before it was released, and we were on that side we were just waiting for Ripple. It was just, and that they just kind of happened to align where they basically came out within a month of each other. Yeah,
You just tried to get a couple records on album of the year list too, right? That's what you were going for there, I think.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stack them up.
So it's been pretty busy on my end. As far as the differences in the bands, I guess maybe to the layperson that they just hear heavy metal and heavy riffs, maybe it doesn't sound that different. But on the Ravine side, it's we've kind of I'm a big NOLA fan, and Down, and I Hate God, and all those bands have really just been a huge influence on me, and that's kind of where the Ravine portion comes from. That is really taking those influences from those bands and then putting our own Pacific Northwest twist on that. And it's really nothing. We're not doing anything groundbreaking, complicated. It's just sludgy riffs with Paul's really gritty vocals. And as far as the SkullDozer stuff, to me, I can definitely hear the difference in the sounds. I use completely different live rigs and recording rigs. Got things tuned differently, and to me, SkullDozer's kind of been my Soundgarden type, release band. It's like I can kind of write this Soundgarden-y type of riffs. Stuff turns out to be, when you're playing loud and distorted, everything kind of sounds sludgy, but it's definitely a conscious decision. And when I'm writing riffs, is one riff going to be a Ravine riff, and the other is going to be something for SkullDozer. So,
Cool.
Yeah, I can tell the difference between the riffs when I hear them. I'm like, oh, that's one he's saved for SkullDozer.
Yeah.
Turbo, what do you got?
What was not familiar with Jesse Payne, but I am familiar with Rob Wrong. How did y'all end up working with them?
So Jesse has kind of been a friend in our Portland scene here, and he's been in a bunch of bands. He played with Bridge City Sinners at some point, and
Sound down at the Shanghai, I think.
Yeah, he runs a lot of sound in town. He actually, our SkullDozer's drummer Jay plays in another band called Kvasir, Kvasir, and they put out a killer album not too long ago, and they're great. So if you haven't checked them out, check them out. So Jesse recorded their original full length, and that's kind of how we got in touch with him. Just a recommendation. Hey, we should go, hook up with Jesse, and he did a fantastic job engineering the record. Recording. Had us trying all kinds of different things, and it was just really detail oriented when it came to the recording process, and just like I'd be thinking I'm nailing guitar parts, and he'd be like, okay, do it again. So it was actually on my end, it was a bit stressful because we don't have tens of thousands of dollars to pay for studio time, so it was trying to cram stuff into a short period of time and really knock it down. And he really pushed us and got the best out of us. We recorded 5 songs in 2023 with Jesse, and then made the decision that it wasn't quite enough for a full length album. It was just over 30 minutes, and like a heavy EP. And we really wanted to do a full length album, get that out there. So went back to the shop, wrote a couple more songs, and then fast forward to 2024, we went back in with Jesse again and recorded the remainder of the material. Ravine had worked with Rob Wrong. Really loved what he did with the record. So we enlisted him to help out with the mixing portion of it, and kind of put his touch on. Obviously, Rob's an icon in the heavy stoner doom scene, and just getting to work with him has been on multiple levels have been great. So that's kind of how those came about, working with both of those gentlemen.
Right on.
I'm glad you said Kvassar. I wanted somebody to pronounce it because I have all their records and never was quite sure how to say the name of the band. So
yeah, and I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Everybody in the scene here calls it Kvassar. I think it's more of a Kvassir, but I think it's
a Norse god. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's a Norse god. So,
Turbo and I are always picking like albums of the week and songs of the week of bands that we can't pronounce their names. So it works out perfectly for us to sound really dumb while we're on the show. Now, songwriting. On looking at your Bandcamp page, it's all songs written by SkullDozer. How does that work? I assume, Justin, you've got the riffs. Ben, are you writing lyrics? Are you guys all writing lyrics? How does that work?
I usually write all the lyrics. There has been some songs in the past, especially right when we were first getting started. There was a couple songs that Justin wrote lyrics to. There's a song or two on the last album, and a song or two on our first EP that he did lyrics to. But for I wrote the lyrics for everything on High Tide, though. So usually that's how it works. Usually he'll come with a riff. We'll start jamming on it. He'll have kind of like a loose idea of where he's going, and I've kind of like carve out a little melody in there and see what I can find that I feel is I can catch on somebody's earworm, and I just go from there.
Where do you pull inspiration from for your lyrics?
For SkullDozer, SkullDozer, most of the stuff I think, it mostly comes from like something, that I find ridiculous, or something that's severely pissing me off, or some sort of hypocrisy or some other. It's usually where the SkullDozer stuff usually ends up coming from something that I'm frustrated with at the time. It usually comes from like a kind of a darker place, especially when opposed to like Manthus songwriting. So yeah, it's SkullDozer is, especially like this record. I ended up, when I took a step back and was like, when I was doing the layout for the vinyl, I was looking at all the lyrics kind of as a whole, and I noticed there's actually there's a pretty strong environmental theme running through High Tide, which and also just between that and going through the pandemic and stuff, I think a lot of the lyrics just come from frustration with the way we treat each other and the planet. So
well, that explains why I like it so much.
Yeah, I
right.
think so. Yeah.
Right, it's a very pure anger.
I was going to say there's definitely like much more of a kind of current events thing, I think, going on this record with a song like Sign of the Times and Mass Production, where you can kind of hear that. Not that a song like Army of the Shred isn't something deep in there, but
Definitely comes from a different place.
Different place, yeah. I can listen to a political punk band, and I can listen to Municipal Waste, and it just depends on the mood you're in and the bands that you want to hear at the time. So
yeah, no, Manthus stuff is a little more, let's say, a little more uplifting, maybe a little more empowering lyrically, whereas like SkullDozer is like, I'm gonna
getting your frustrations out.
Steamroller,
Yeah, it's like fuck this shit. Yeah, definitely. There's definitely, reading over the lyrics. There's a definite theme there, and I like to even just playfully call it it's almost a concept album. If you just look at kind of the theme of the songs and in the order of the songs and how things are progressing, through Bloody Ground and Sign of the Times and into the title track High Tide, where we're just getting Mother Nature's just getting pissed, and then we get to the end of side A, which is Erosion. Yeah, and it's just and side B kind of has that its own similar but not the same theme.
So you calling it side A and side B is making me a little excited that we might see something on Wax at some point, or some kind of.
Didn't Ben mention vinyl?
Well, yeah, exactly. Is this a thing? Is this going to be a thing?
Because that's what I had to look up. I had to see, did I already buy this?
No, you did not buy it because it doesn't exist as far as we know yet. But
it's Rich. It's definitely a thing. So look for probably we have a physical record release show scheduled in September, so it will be available around that time.
Is that you guys doing that? Because I always like to see, you're listed in some places kind of self-released. I see Beekeeper record, which I assume is your own kind of thing that you do, given one of the EPs or songs that you had. So you're doing this all yourself, kind of?
Yeah, it's all self-released. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're pressing the records at Crave Dog, which is a local spot. Which so far has been great. Todd there has been super awesome. So
excellent.
I don't know how I missed this, Ben. You did the album cover?
Yeah, I do all of our artwork. I do all
he
the
is
artwork.
the artiste.
Yeah, I do
awesome.
Our logos. I do lots of I do show flyers. I do all the Manthus artwork too. It's I've been a freelance illustrator for a lot of years now, and a lot of my work comes from band work.
Damn, that is and you're not just like, they're all awesome, but I wouldn't necessarily know that it's your work only because it's so different. Like, I'm looking at the last SkullDozer record with the shrooms and the sky, and then this one, like, it's both awesome, but it's very, very different, and that's very, very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you, as a freelance illustrator, somebody who isn't like, I haven't made like a name for myself where people are like, oh, hey, this is the guy that does these types of drawings. As a freelance illustrator, I mean, to pay the bills, you got to be able to be versatile, man. So, whatever people come to me with, like if it's logos, if it's, I have to be able to be adaptable. So I try to be able to be versatile when it comes to the artwork. So
yeah, it's killer. That the album cover. What were you going for? Like, what was the inspiration? Was it the lyrics? Was it anything in particular you were going for?
So for High Tide, actually, I wanted to do something that was really. I wanted to do something that was very detailed, and I had been. I've always really loved, and I can't think of his name right now, but the artist did a lot of the Sepultura album covers. He did Arise and Beneath the Remains and Chaos AD. And when I got Arise the first time, I used to sit and just stare at that record cover because there's so much little stuff in it all over, and I just loved it. And so I was kind of thinking about that when I started thinking about the artwork for High Tide, and so that was kind of my jump off point was something that was something you could really kind of pore over and sit and look at and keep finding new stuff in. So that was the inspiration.
It's a killer record. I'm looking at it now. I'm just seeing the shark on the left hand side, and then there's the eel. It's mission accomplished on a record cover that has a lot going on. And Justin, it must be cool to have an artist already in the band where you don't have to go out and try to find someone to do an album cover for you.
It's the one place that I kind of like. That's where I become kind of a control freak. Is like when it comes to the visual presentation of the band. Like all of my favorite bands have a large visual component, so I always try to bring that to musical projects that I'm working on. It's kind of hard for me not to, honestly. It's just sort of natural. So,
Who were some of your favorites that you would mention? I like that.
Artists or bands or
Bands that kind of bring that vibe that you.
I mean, a lot of the, obviously like like Maiden and like the Misfits, like, I mean, these bands where like you almost their art or like their mascot before you know what the guys look like in the band.
Yeah.
I've always thought that was a really cool thing, that you could just have some sort of visual element that people can see and immediately know. It's not even, doesn't say your band name or anything, but they see it and they know it's your band.
Yeah.
Like I've always really loved that aspect, and I think it's such a cool kind of, I mean, I don't know, it's always got me excited about bands when they have a cool visual component. But
I wonder how many.
Too, so.
I wonder how many more singles like Iron Maiden sold just because of all of those different, Eddie pictures that were on the covers that just were not on the full lengths. Just so you could have those,
Totally, man. I remember getting like Power Slave and being like, "Oh, dude, Zombie's he's a mummy now. How cool!" I love when people put that extra time into the visual part of music, because I think that's the one kind of thing that music has on visual art, is that, like, for paintings or a drawing or something, you got to get right in front of somebody, and with music you can just kind of blast it and infect everybody, and it's like it's I feel like it's kind of the one aspect of music that it really kind of has up on other art forms, so doesn't have to be seen. So
totally. Justin, you guys mentioned you're having a record release show. Who are you guys playing with, and are you guys going local shows or doing any kind of tours?
As far as record release, September, we haven't announced anything on our end, so I'm going to keep that under wraps right now.
No breaking news on the show? That's okay.
Yeah, we've got a couple killer Pacific Northwest bands that'll be joining us. We're really stoked about it. So once we get closer and that gets announced, definitely keep an eye out for that. And then no tours lined up. I mean, definitely like to get, a few more local shows under our belt, and maybe hit the road for, a long weekend or so. We'll see what's in the cards at the time. Definitely the Ravine thing has been a pretty time consuming on my end, and it's, after August, be able to shift gears and give SkullDozer my full attention for probably the remainder of the year, and then get some, maybe hit the road, like I said, do some stuff out of town. But yeah, we're just really stoked to get the record out there. Digitally it was great. We got a lot of great feedback, reception. But yeah, it'll be nice to have that physical, that vinyl in hand when that happens.
I'm excited to see that. So
did you go
right after I finish the layout? I'm always like,
Did you go all splatter, or are we just going traditional black, or is this a surprise too, or will it be variant colors?
No, we're doing one. It's I think it's. Is it a splatter? It's a dual color.
It is a marble. We went with
it's a marble. That's what it is. So yeah. It'll just be one variant, but. It looks great and goes perfectly with the artwork and the theme of the album. So,
love that.
It's a nice little package. I'm pretty stoked at how it all looks at the moment. So,
it's exciting, very very cool, and it's for nerds like me. I can't, for some reason, like I want these color records that match the cover and all these days. I'm such a friggin' nerd.
It's like I always say, like, even with like how some people put out tapes now, like I still have a tape deck, but it's like you know, like when the color of the tape matches something, it's like a new toy, man.
Yeah.
It's like the packaging is so enticing. It's just, I love it. It's like a piece of candy or something.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Turbo, anything else for the guys while we have them?
Well, you mentioned the visual aspect of it, and I was trying to find some videos for you all, and there wasn't much there, but there's also another band called SkullDozer in Florida that's a death metal band.
Yeah, I think they're out of Mississippi, and they you know, whether it was intentional or not, they inherited our name that we've had. We just actually this is our 11th anniversary this month, so we've been around the block a few times more than those guys. So yeah. As far as video stuff, there's some stuff out there. I don't think we have a YouTube channel set up. It's probably something I need to do on my end, and get some videos and stuff out there for more visual stuff. But yeah, maybe if you dig deep, there might be something there. But definitely, hit up our Instagram. Will probably have a video or two or something. At least some reels and things like that.
Probably some old ones out there. I know, like for a while there was like a video of us at the Ash Street. So I mean, obviously that was a while ago. A couple other like random stuff like that, but I think the Blue Heron video may have one or two of us, but I don't think we've never done much video wise yet, but maybe it's
Rich is down in Florida. If you need him to go crack some heads, he can.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm pretty sure we sold we sold a shirt to one of their fans. So.
I bet you your shirts are cooler, given the shirts that are all sold out on your Bandcamp page, and the artwork that's on them. I think the difference, like when you search SkullDozer and you just do a Google search, Metal Archives bring those knuckleheads up first. So we need to have a conversation with Metal Archives, who continue to screw me over every time I go and try to use them as a reference. And I don't think they have a big D in their name like you guys, the Skull Big D-Ozer.
Right.
It's even cooler how you guys have it. Excellent. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining. People, if you have not heard it yet, SkullDozer's new record is called High Tide. Came out July 4th. It will be, in my opinion, as Justin shared some codes with us, I think our friends over at Doom Charts are going to enjoy this record and hopefully see you pretty high up on the July chart. I know where it stands for me. I think the record is excellent. I think you guys are going to get a lot of traction when you have the physical part of it out, and just great stuff. It was not a surprise to me that it's great, but a surprise to me that it came out, and then Justin's like, hey, I'm also in Ravine, and I'm like, oh shit, now I see the connection, and I see Ben's mouth, so it's all coming together for me now.
Yeah.
I think this record is gonna be really great reception for you guys, because it's killer, and we will continue to spread that word.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate the kind words and feedback, and thanks so much for having us on the show. I'm glad we can make this work, and thanks for all the promotion. And yeah, we'll keep an eye out for them Doom charts. We'll see what happens.
Appreciate the kind words, man.
And feel free to send me a note, a little heads up when the pre-order is going up for the record.
Absolutely, be the first to know.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.
All right, take care.
Yeah, you guys take care, man.